Welcome to Women in the Making, a show that's a testament to the boundless potential within every woman. We promise that every story is going to leave you inspired, encouraged, and help you conquer your dreams. Thank you for a most incredible response with the previous episode, and we promise to keep getting better. Amy Poehler said, "If you can dance and be free and not be embarrassed, you can rule the world." In this captivating episode, we unravel the majestic allure of belly dancing with her mesmerizing guest. Brace yourself as we take you on a worldwide journey of her trials through personal struggles and a life-changing accident, her triumphs of accolades around the world, and the power of self-expression. Please help me welcome my next guest, Nadira.
Thank you for having me, Naya. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nadira, everybody recognizes you as this wonderful belly dancer. But I know there's a deep story hidden behind that. You started dancing at the age of 6.
Yes.
And you've been unstoppable.
Thank you.
And I guess you had a life-changing experience. So let us go back to that moment where it all began.
It was really intense. I was in a car accident that I thought ended my dance career. It gave me a herniated disc, and then my head wrapped up and over around the headrest, and I lost a lot of mobility, and all of the doctors I saw weren't being helpful, and the physical therapy I was going through wasn't being helpful, and I was having a lot of self-doubt, and it was really depressing, as dance has always been my love language and my health and my way to connect to life and being a stronger person. And my massage therapist actually suggested belly dance as a way to strengthen my core.
Wow.
So I went in and started belly dancing, and who knew?
Who is this physical therapist?
I know. She's great, but it was one where it unlocked the sparkle again, and it brought everything back, and it was really empowering to get back into that dance, to get and bring my dance background of jazz, ballet, and hip hop, and learn the technical moves, and learning the mystique and the mystery and the joy of the Middle Eastern music in the dance, and being able to form both together and become my own, that journey to become my authentic self in this dance. And it's been an incredible journey. And I don't think that I would have had that had I not had that accident. It's been a very, very empowering, strengthening journey for me.
And how about your family? Was your family ever connected to this entire...
Never.
No, they were not supportive.
No, they were supportive, but they
Okay.
were not connective. So my mom was very, very supportive. My dad is Southern, so he was very, in his way of being protective and supportive, he was like, "Don't you get cold," because we're wearing the costuming, which was very entertaining. But they were all very supportive, and I've always been a dancer. I've always been an entertainer. And for my mom, she just loves the fact that there was another way for me to continue to entertain and connect to people. It's always been kind of a superpower of being on stage and connecting and bringing joy to people that are dancing. And it's been a great journey, and I don't honestly think that I would have found it had it not been for that accident.
Wow, that is incredible. Tell us about your childhood. How did it all begin?
So my mom is very sporty. She's very sports oriented. And then I came out a girly girl, and she didn't know what to do with me. And so she put me in different sports, and nothing worked. And then all of a sudden she put me in 6th grade into tap ballet. Then my eyes lit up, and the rest was history. And so I kind of drove the path myself, and I was very focused, this was my joy, and I knew that that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life, is in some way be connected to dance. I find it, especially as women, it's very healing. It's very, when you find your voice and your journey along this pattern, it's very, it just empowers you to go forward, and it gives you the strength that you might not have had you not had that, because it takes a lot of guts to get up and perform in front of people. And it's this driving force that gets you, and it takes you, and it's taken me along the entire span of my life in every aspect of my life. So when I started belly dancing, that was when I was in my final year of college, and so then that's why my degree is communication and culture. So I studied the Middle Eastern culture. I studied every aspect into that, the musicality, and I also played an instrument, so I was able to learn both sides of the coin and incorporate everything in there. And I've been able to travel the world and just immerse myself in the cultures, and it's what's gotten me the respect within the Middle Eastern cultures and communities around the area. It also allows me to connect to it deeply, so that when I teach the dance with others and connect with others, I'm able to help them find their best authentic self.
Tell us about the challenges that you had to face and overcome just to be where you are in your life today.
There have been a lot of challenges in life. Growing up, you have your challenges of just natural growth and everything you're going along. One of the things about me that people don't know is that I'm from Arizona, and so I'm an original urban cowgirl.
Wow, that is interesting.
I grew up, we didn't own horses, but I grew up around horses, so breaking in Arabians and stallions, and you have to come in with strength and security. When you stare that big 1,000-pound horse in the face, you cannot show fear.
No.
And coming in as a little girl and learning that really gave me confidence for the rest of my life. That has taken me through. It's given me a lot through the various challenges going through life, through the car accident, through just a big challenge that I had recently was going through my fertility struggle to have my child. It was a 6-year fertility struggle to have him, and having that strength starting from childhood to push through that. One thing when you're dealing with horses and you're being strong with that and you have that strength, it gives you that power to go through life. So no matter what I went through and whatever I tried, something in me always said, you can do this. And in life, we have self-doubt all the time. We have something inside that tells us we are not worthy, we're not strong enough to do that, and you need to have a counterbalance that gives you that strength, that gives you that drive that tells you can do that. So that's been a huge, huge push through everything.
Wow. I was just thinking about a line. No matter hard it gets, a little shimmy is what is required, right?
I always tell my students, when you get messed up or you get stressed in life, shimmy is the ultimate reset.
I tried belly dancing, by the way, a couple months back, and I gave up. It doesn't look easy, but it looks fabulous.
It looks
and
effortless.
It feels like it's just part of every woman to just move like that. But when it came to me, I was able to move the waist. But when it came to the bust, I could not do it. I'm like, how do these women move?
It's
so
a
flexible.
lot. It is. So having the entire dance history I've had, especially with ballet, jazz, and hip hop, it's very external. So belly dance, it's very internal. The dance in and of itself is self-expression. And it's the journey in the class. And I always say this in my classes, where you're never going to be me, I'm never going to be you. The journey is to find your best self. And so my job as your instructor is to find that in you and help you showcase what it is that you love about yourself. And I never say that, we all have things that we doubt about ourselves. I never say that sucks. I never say that I don't like that about myself. I always say it's less fabulous.
Yeah.
So then that way you shift your mindset, because having a positive mindset, what you think and what you say internally, is just as important as what you say externally. And you believe that.
I love that, because I also personally really believe that what is internal eventually shows in your external life, right?
It fully does.
If you're dying inside, like you're emotionally feeling weak and emotionally having mental health issues, it's going to resonate or like reflect back on your actions within your family, within your friends.
Very much.
And every one of us need a support system.
Yep.
And a lot of times we are missing on that support system. And I tell all the time in my channel, reach out before you think it's gone deep, too far, too late.
Yeah. And I didn't really understand fully the weight of mental health, the weight of anxiety, until I had my child. And I had extreme postpartum anxiety. And luckily I had a force around me and a sisterhood around me. I had my mom, I had my mother-in-law, I had dear friends that were able to pull me out of that. And even now, going through the pandemic was really hard. That really pulled a lot of mental health awareness that's in there.
So true.
I personally had lost my sparkle during that. And it's because it was hard to have your child, you have your anxiety, you're stuck in the house, you have to do all of the things. And it was really hard to pull out of that. And it's through dance and through pushing through and being able to do online classes. That was a big thing. And I still have online classes as a way to reach out and have a community. And it's the same thing with my classes is we're a family and we are all about having that strength and building each other up because we need that.
Yes,
we need to,
that.
Instead of tearing each other down, we need to support each other fully.
Totally. Thank you. Nadira, so many of us as women face the trauma of bringing a child to life, including myself. I've had a miscarriage, and I know you have had multiple of them and had struggles bringing this little boy to life. So tell me a little bit about, because I'm sure so many women out there want to hear that and want to know more about this journey that belongs to you.
It was a 6-year fertility journey, and it was a real struggle, and it was an uphill battle the entire time. Nothing was working, and I ended up having a miscarriage. So when I finally was pregnant with Alexander, he was my rainbow baby, and I wasn't really truly allowing myself to enjoy the pregnancy because it was so medical. So that when I finally did give birth to him and we come home and all of a sudden you're in charge 24/7, and I just was in shock and I couldn't, your hormones leave your system and it's really shocking. And I really had severe postpartum anxiety. And luckily I was surrounded by my mom, my mother-in-law, dear, dear friends that would come and help. And I was able, at the time I needed to get on medication. I couldn't even handle little things like, how does the diaper genie work? I mean, just the little things. And mom brain is real. I mean,
it is.
You're juggled. And I really felt alone in it. And not a lot of women talk about it, which is why I talk about it so much, because I don't ever want people to feel alone.
It's a very important topic to have because I didn't even know I had postpartum depression.
You don't necessarily
with my
know.
First one. I had no help in this country.
Yeah.
My parents only came here for 10 days.
Ugh.
And I think that's the time when you are
That's
just
when you
healing
need it.
physically.
Yes.
So with the brand new baby, you have no idea, especially if it's your first, what's coming.
It's shocking. It's very, very shocking. And I have several friends that have moved to the country that don't have their family. And so when they have their babies, I'm like, let me come to your house. Let me come stay the night. Let me come take your baby. And I also went through the struggle of breastfeeding. I didn't make enough. And I felt guilty because you're like, that's my mom, like that's my job. And I couldn't. And so I finally was able to get to that space of fed as best. And another one was just functioning. And you're just in shock. We're used to having independence and autonomy. And now you have somebody that's, requires your assistance 24/7. And it also had another thing with postpartum that people don't talk about a lot is if you're not enjoying the newborn phase, and it's really hard to have somebody with you 24/7. And I had a real struggle with it. And so it was really a blessing to have people come do that. And so now he's 6, he's thriving, and I love this stage of his life.
That's cute.
And he's a true joy, and he is literally the love of my life.
Oh, that is so cute. And I'm sure he's wonderful.
He's a beautiful baby.
Nadira, belly dancing is such a competitive field, just like any dance form.
Yes.
I'm sure there must be people or factors that helped you rise up to this level. You've traveled around the world, have given amazing performances. Tell us a little more, because the reason for Women in the Making is to inspire that girl, that woman who wants to be in the same place as you.
Yes.
And what can we help them with?
I think the most important thing is when you start to find an instructor that's encouraging and empowering. I was blessed that my very first instructor was so supportive and so full of love. And I always call her the Lucille Ball. She was Greek, so I always call her the Greek Lucille Ball. And she brought humor into the classroom. She helped you relax. She helped you enjoy it. And so when I teach my classes, I bring a lot of humor. I bring a lot of fun. I also studied a lot of psychology. I really firmly believe that you've got your conscious brain and your subconscious brain, where
you studied psychology as well.
No,
Okay, I have to count psychology, ballet,
all
belly
of it.
dancing. Okay, the list goes on.
Well, and in your conscious brain, that's the one that stops you. That's the one that says you're not good enough. That's the one that is your self-doubt. Your subconscious brain is your inner Cirque du Soleil dancer. That's your inner 4-year-old that wants to come out, and you need to give that conscious brain a job. So when I teach muscularly, because I was for my car accident. So I teach you how to protect your body, how to move in the best way that's
so
authentic.
important.
Well, and it's to be authentic to you, because we're all built different. We all have injuries or non-injuries. We all are unique. And so my job is, yes, I give you the muscles and I give you the technique, but I also move around individually between my classes and between my students, and move them and then give them the things that they're doing well. And so I'll come around and whisper in their ears, this is what's great and this is what's going, because if you're empowered and you're having fun, you're going to enjoy the dance and you're going to do so much better. And the same thing along with the mentorship. You need a mentor. You need somebody that's going to help you along your way.
So true.
When I got started, I had not so much mentorship because it was so competitive. So I had to learn it all the hard way. I just dove in with the live music, but because of my degree and because of my natural personality, and my stage presence from years, I was able to kind of figure it out. And so now with people, as I've grown, when you become a professional dancer, that's when you really start learning. That's when you really should start your journey of truly, truly learning. And I've got several mentors now that I learn with and challenge me and study along the way. And at the same thing, when my students are coming through, based on whatever the goal is that they have, we sit down, we figure out the goal. It could be something as simple as find the beat in a rhythm. Yeah. Or as detailed as I want to go be a working professional. And so then I'm able to cater to each person to figure out where they're at. I'm able to work with their learning styles and work in that direction. So
you covered two very important things that I got from this conversation. One was mentorship, and the other was bringing uniqueness to each person.
Yes.
I don't think my dance teacher recognized that because we were forced to do something and had to be perfect when I was growing up. And the reason I could not continue those dance classes is because I could not follow every single step.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I've never even heard that before.
Oh, really?
Because I've not danced professionally in years. So knowing that is such a magical thing, that your teacher can recognize what your body is capable of, and having the right mentorship and the right teacher.
Huge. And you have to, in ballet, it's the same thing. You're in your positions. I knew I was never going to be a professional ballet dancer. I'm too tall at 5'10". My feet were too wide. I knew I was never going to be it, but I was able to get the posture and bring that in there. And that's probably why I am able to customize with each person as partly who I am, partly my studies, partly my degree, partly everything, where I'm able to look at you and find how you learn just by watching your body language. I'm able to figure out how you interpret. I'm able to figure out if you're very shy, if you really want to perform. So I know who I can push and who I can't. I know who wants to be in class because they want to have a good time, and I know who wants to get pushed for it. Sometimes they don't even know themselves. So I've gotten quite a bit of people to come up in there, and that, honestly, right now, that's my greatest joy, is to see dancers have their aha moment where but to see their aha moment, to see their happiness, it makes my heart.
I don't think anybody can ask for a better teacher. Thank you, Nadira.
Thank you.
I think your students are going to be so proud of you, of what you are mentoring them with, and what you bring for their life's worth.
And I'm a fierce dance mom. I had that from my teachers, and I had a lot of challenges as I was starting to dance. You have your haters, you have the challenges, and experiencing that was really hard, but it gave me a real strength so that I protect my babies.
Nadira, COVID really changed a lot of us. It changed the way we looked at life. It changed the way we walked, we talked, we performed. And especially for you as a dancer, as a performer, things definitely rapidly changed.
100%.
Everything became online, which is hard because here women or men who are dancing need that personal touch, that personal feel, especially if they are deeply involved. But now they are looking at their teacher who cannot help them touch, feel, or do anything. How did you navigate through this online world? And I think you're still doing it.
Yeah.
So that's very empowering that people are still able to do online classes with you and it's still successful. Tell us a little more.
It was really intense. I am not a tech person at all. I was lucky and blessed. I have a home studio downstairs, so I had that all set up. Through several friends of mine that are tech people, I was able to get my setup with, even wearing a microphone, or how do we go through Zoom? How do we set all of that up? It took some time. We went from using a laptop for online classes to now I have a full setup in my home studio, and especially going online with all of the classes, it really was just, it was yes, dance and yes, connection. But then afterwards we stayed, we talked, people's kids were running in the background, people's animals are running in the background. It was a way to connect to people outside of that. And we also, performance-wise, worked with people around the world where we created online shows. And so one of my best dance friends is also a mom. Our kids were born at the same time. And so she lives in Ohio, I live in Washington State. And so the two of us were able to create East Meets West and Badass Belly Dance Moms shows where we were able to
never
finally...
heard of that. That sounds amazing. I don't know how I missed it.
It was during COVID where we were able to do that. And we were pulling like other belly dance moms for the Badass Belly Dance Mom shows.
Such a cool idea.
For East Meets West, we were able to pull in East Coast dancers, West Coast dancers, Midwest dancers, where we would not normally be able to share space. And it was such an amazing, beautiful gift that came out of that. A lot of dancers were able to go online. I was able to have a lot of dancers study with me who I've traveled the world and taught, who have wanted to study but couldn't fly into Washington State. And so they were able to come online. And so now I'm able to teach in person for 2 nights a week. And then I have my online Zoom classes. And so people are still able to Zoom in and go online. And my favorite thing is when people's cats walk across the screen, you see that, my dogs join in and they bark and they're in. It's life. And you get to see people's authentic space, and they get to see me as a person other than just an instructor. I get to see them as authentic people and dancers. I have dancers that even have really poor reception that I record the class, and then I'm able to send it to them so then they can learn the class whenever they're able to. So it's been a blessing in disguise. Took a while to get there, but
I did Zumba classes online during COVID with a friend, and they had people from all age groups.
All age groups. There's people who are health nervous, or if they're immune compromised and they can't necessarily come out and about a lot of people. And so then that gives them the option so that they can dance. And so it kind of opens up, and especially there's people who are traveling for work and they can't travel and be somewhere on time to class. There's a lot of moms that take the classes where they can't find childcare and they feel bad because they don't want to bring their kids to class. I'm like, come take the Zoom class. They're muted. And even if they're not, it's great. And everybody has a great time. So I choose to find the blessing. So that's a big blessing that came out of going through COVID and lockdown.
Well, thank you for bringing joy to so many people around the world.
Thank you.
At least when I see belly dancing.
It does. It's supposed to be fun. This dance is a joyful dance. The whole purpose of this dance is unique in individuality, and let it just be you. And that's what people respond to in the audience and in the classes, in your own mental health. If you're enjoying it and having fun, you're happier. That serotonin release.
We are at our last segment, Nadira. It's been so wonderful chatting with you.
So amazing being here.
And first question is, tell us a secret nobody knows about you.
I don't know if it's a secret necessarily that nobody knows about me, but during COVID, I wrote a children's book. A children's book to help him understand COVID and the lockdown. And I was having a struggle, and I was having a really hard time finding the connection to dance, finding a connection to life, finding a connection to everything. And one night I sat down and it just spilled out. And then I found somebody to do the artwork and put it up on Amazon, and it just, who knew? So I guess published author is the one.
Well, that is definitely a secret because none of us knew about that.
Shocked me. I didn't know I had that in me.
Absolutely. And let me ask you another question. Did you ever felt like an imposter?
Yes.
And how did you deal with that?
I talk about this in class all of the time. Coming into this dance form specifically, it's not my culture. It's not my natural. I didn't grow up with it. I had a really hard time connecting to it. I didn't understand its different rhythms. It's a different sentiment. It's a different feel. It's a different essence. Everything is very different. And so I always say you have to fake it till you make it. And I explain this in class all the time. There is a certain part of the dance called the tuxeme. It's very emotional. It's very guttural. You put your heart on your sleeve. And if you don't have a connection or a frame of reference, it's really hard to make that connection. And now I can do it authentically because now I understand. Yes. But to fake it till I make it, I closed my eyes and I imagined, what is it that makes me feel in this slow and flow? And so to me, it's being in the nice warm sun, my toes in the sand, listening to the ocean waves, feeling the palm trees. And that is what gave me that slow range of motion so that I can get into that space so that I could fake it and do the movement. I also thought about stretching and elongating like a cat when you're getting ready to wake up or stretch down. And so that's something I understood. So I was able to dance that, and then that helped me relax and learn about the tuxeme and the different sentiments behind the music and getting into that space of tarab, which is that pure enjoyment and embodiment of the music. And I talk about that to this day with my students and help them figure that same exact space.
Yeah, so many of us deal with imposter syndrome every single day.
Every day.
Like I've been faking it for the longest time, while that was not true unless I learned this term. I used to go for interviews and I was extremely confident of what I was capable of. But inside my heart, I would always think I'm faking this.
It is real.
It is so hard.
And
not only for
everybody
women,
goes
but for
through this.
everyone.
Every single person goes through that. I do that when I would be the featured performer to get ready on stage, and I would psych myself out, and I would have self-doubt, and I would have to get myself out of self-sabotage, and I'm backstage, and I would have to pep myself up, like, you're here for a reason. They want to see you. You're actually a good dancer. I mean, you have self-doubt. Every single person has that, and it's about, you have to shift your language. You have to shift your space. And even if it's something as simple as you contract your lower ab, your core, and then you exhale and do a big shake like my 6-year-old does, where you shake your whole body out. And then you get ready and you just do it. And it's giving yourself that strength and giving yourself not the freedom, but the knowledge to know it's okay, that you're worth it to get up on that dance stage. You deserve to be there.
Absolutely. I love that. And my last question for you today is, did you believe in manifestation?
100%. I believe what you put out there is going to come back 1,000-fold. What you put, not just verbally into the world, but what you think. When I was going through COVID, and when I was going through a really hard time trying to find my sparkle, the self-doubt and the language I didn't even realize was going through there. And I went through a depression. I went through super anxiety. It was really hard to get it together. And it literally I had to put myself out there and remind myself who I was as a person. The first step was writing that book and realizing, oh, I can do something I didn't know that I could do. The second step was putting myself out there and being part of a huge dance production, which was also part theater, part dance, and putting myself into being a lead character in there, where it was the Wizard of Oz and I was the Scarecrow, and I had to act and dance at the same time. And it was completely out of my comfort zone, but it was the most phenomenal experience that I had ever had. And it was one of those where you just wake it back up, and then remembering I always say we're magical unicorns, and remembering the sparkle, and remembering, even if it's something as putting on red lipstick, or put some rhinestone here, put a glitter on, anything. That's all it is. You can wear sweats all day long, but put on some red lipstick, you're going to feel better.
I'm borrowing you as a teacher for my life. Your story, your emotions, your journey, your mentorship is so invaluable to every single person who is part of your life. And I want to say thank you from their behalf. But before you leave and we end the show, we cannot end the show without a shimmy.
All right.
So let's bring that on.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we're going to have soft knees, bend the knees, tuck, lift. We're going to start with contracting the glutes. So glute, 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 glute. Now relax the glute, let the hip take over. Keep the knees nice and soft, bring your arms out. There you go. A little faster. And then a little faster. You want to relax the glutes, relax the hamstrings. There you go. So now bring your arms up, lift. Bring it down. Shoulder, shoulder. Now with your feet, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step. And the toe that touches, you want to lift the hip. Lift, lift, lift. There you go. And you're going to add the hand. Bring it back to shimmy. Shoulders. Don't face each other. Yeah. Step, touch, step, touch. You can angle it. Ready to travel? Step, touch, step, touch. Ready? I'm a belly dancer now. Wasn't that fun? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Every journey of Women in the Making is so unique. Do not forget to tune into our episodes every week. And remember, every one of you is Women in the Making.